It helps you to organize your thoughts. That's one of my favorite things to do. So going off of today's theme, I will read a question and then I will pick someone to answer it. The first question is that concerning the why me part of their question for our theme of our meeting. Has anything good happened from a very bad experience that you had? And I will ask Tammie to answer that question.
I guess that's what I get for volunteering to answer the question. Well, that's an interesting question, and I hope nobody walks into my office right now and interrupts me. I hit a deer with my car 2 weeks ago, and I think, why me? I thought that right away. I commute every day about 30 miles to work, and I've been doing that for about 7.5 years. I kept thinking, at some point, the odds are not in my favor. I probably will hit a deer, but when it happens so fast, as they say, and I barely saw it. I just thought, I just hit a deer. So, of course, that whole morning I'm thinking, why me? I'm on my way to work. Why me? Why me? But what I've learned, because I'm still waiting for my vehicle to be repaired and I'm in a horrible rental car and I hate driving cars, I want my SUV back, is I'm learning something that I'm really bad at is patience. And so this experience has taught me that nobody died, well, okay, except the deer died, I'm pretty sure. But this is just a vehicle, and this is just an inconvenience. And this is something that will end hopefully soon. And the why me is, woe is me, needs to just, there's bigger things in the world than my poor vehicle being repaired and that poor dead deer. So my why me moment is happening right now to me. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much, Tammie. My next question, if you have a friend or family member who's having a why me moment, what would you do to comfort them? Alex, would you like to participate?
Okay. No problem. I can participate. Actually, because when I mentioned before, I'm a gay, but so that's why when I know I'm a gay, so I chose to go to the gay friendly organization and to learn the courses about this thing, and then in order to help those people cannot accept who they are. So I remember one time I have a people calling from asking how to deal with their depression and how to accept who they are. I always tell them first of all, you have to accept yourself. You just have to don't care about what you are normal, and you are a good person. You don't have to be responsible for what other people think. So the first thing you have to just to be open your heart and try to accept who you are, and try not to care about what other and later on, and I just told them the concept about all these things, and then later on, maybe a few months later, and then he kind of get more awake and more energetic than before, and because of what I said and about these things. So this is my experience about helping others. This kind of
All right, thank you so much, Alex. Mr. Timer, Doug, do we have time for yet one more?
I think that we're on schedule well. It's only 25 after right now.
Okay. My next question then is, if you've caught yourself thinking, why me? What would you do to reframe the situation? Dawn.
Thank you for asking this question, Tricia. I have oftentimes, as a young person, can you hear me? Okay, good. as a young person, I used to think often, why me? My parents were divorced early. I had some struggles with my father living in Florida, my mom living here. And I remember thinking, why me? Why me? And as an adult, and I look back on that situation, I realized, wow, I was kind of gifted to have this dual life, a parent in Florida, which I got to visit every summer for as long as I wanted. And I had a lot of freedom in being able to, we'll say, go back and forth. So I had a lot of freedom to escape from one place to another. And so now as an adult, when I think, why me? If I get into that situation, I kind of always think, like, why not me? And more of an exciting way, like reframing it into, why not me? I'm strong, I'm resilient, I know how to handle things. And with that, I like to reframe why me to why not me, and just raise that vibration and be able to see it for a gift as opposed to a struggle. So back to you, Tricia.
Thank you so much, Dawn. I believe at this time I will go ahead and turn the meeting back over to our Toastmaster, Sandy.
Thank you, Tricia. That was a great table topics and fit right into our theme. I would like to end the speaking portion of the meeting and ask our general evaluator, Dawn, to take over the rest of the meeting for the evaluation portion.
Thank you, Sandy. And I want to say right away, thank you so much for a great meeting so far, and just jumping right into our evaluation of the meeting. And if I'm correct, Tricia is supposed to be the first evaluator for today. Is that correct? And if that is, can I get Tricia to pop on and do her evaluation of Fransisco?
Yes, thank you, Dawn. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Fransisco, with your icebreaker. And we got to hear a little bit about your history. And in your notes, you had specifically asked me to consider your vehicle as your studio. So some of my notes are in that vein. When you were introduced and you were showing your tablet, you were hiding your face. So just try and be more aware of where that tablet is in respects to your face, because we want to see you. We want to see the tablet too, if that's what you're trying to show us. But yeah, so you're blocking your face. So that's just something you might want to try and play around with to see where that's at. It's also a bit distracting, at least for me, unless it's something that's really vital to what you're speaking about. Perhaps just not share that. I thought that you had excellent voice variation throughout your speech. It kept us interested. I was just hanging on, listening to every word. I also thought that your hand movements were specifically in the frame. So you didn't have a lot of hand movement, but the hand movement you did was very personable and inside the frame. So I really appreciated that. I really loved your vocabulary use, mulling it over, pushing the envelope. Just use very many phrases that I really appreciated, just using that vocabulary throughout your speech. The only other thing that I thought of is the angle of your camera seems a little bit off to me personally. Maybe if you could just move it to the left just a little bit, it might be more centered. Like I'm centered in my video feed. But other than that, I thought it was an excellent speech. I got to know you, and I thought that you had excellent voice variation, and it was obviously a very organized speech. And I can't wait to hear your next one. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Tricia. That was a wonderful evaluation. Next, I would like to call on Andrea, who will be evaluating Lori. So Andrea, please help us welcome Andrea as she evaluates Lori.
Thank you. Lori is working on her Pathfinders, and I believe this is one of her first speeches in it. For that, you did a great job. You always talk about very difficult topics. You keep us engaged. That's something that on the Pathfinder evaluation, you wanted to engage us, and you did an excellent job at that. As I watched what you were doing, I realized that we all have a tendency to move around as we're talking. And I'm working very hard right now to hold still. But you did a great job, even when you weren't holding still, of letting us know that your body was engaged in the conversation. And that's important for what you were doing today. You did a great job of using your hands up high so that we could see them when you were crying and working with the food. And you kept them off to the side so it wasn't covering your face. Those are all really important things for all of us to remember. Where are we in the frame? How is that working for everyone else? There's one thing that I thought you could use, you could improve on for online speaking. Obviously, you are an excellent speaker in your brick and mortar club, and you use projection really well. However, when you're talking on a computer, you don't need to project quite as much. So you could bring the volume down a little bit. But it was such a difficult topic that you needed to express that real anger and some of the other things, which brought your vocal level up. So I understand that. But I just want you to be aware that for all of us, we don't have to talk quite as loud when we're talking on a computer as when we're in our brick and mortar clubs trying to project to the back of the room. Overall, Lori, you met all of the qualifications for the Pathfinder evaluation speech. You did all the things that you were supposed to do. You were exemplary in vocal variety, gestures, keeping the audience engaged, your comfort level, obviously, with a very difficult topic. All of that was excellent. One last point I want to make to you, and this is one obviously I'm having trouble with right now. It's actually looking at the camera. And I realize as I'm doing this that this is something I probably should have brought up in your evaluation, because I'm not doing it very well, because I'm reading off my notes and I don't have something to focus on up there. So we might want to put a dot on our computer so that we remember to look at the camera when we're talking. Thank you, Madam Evaluator.
Thank you both for wonderful evaluations. And at this time, I'm going to give you both, I'm going to evaluate your evaluations, and then I'm going to open up the meeting for other people to give additional feedback for Lori, which I know we're doing it a little differently than before, but this is all new to me, so I appreciate the ability to change things up a little bit. And so at this time, I'd like to just make a couple comments. If Doug, you can time me just for a minute to evaluate for each Tricia and Andrea. Tricia first. I appreciate the fact that you were speaking directly and that you prepared to talk to Fransisco and evaluate the things that are very important to him. Because I think in an advanced club, we have things that are important to us as speakers, and we want to make these changes, and we want to make sure that we are presenting ourselves on camera, because it's different, right? It's completely a different thing. And he had certain needs and certain things that he was looking for. You addressed those. I found that to be a very refreshing thing. I know we are an advanced club and that's expected of us, but you actually did it. So I appreciate that. And Andrea, you didn't have any opportunity, right, to prepare beforehand. But I want to say that your evaluation was at the level that I would expect for an advanced club as well. You have just an amazing sense of connecting with what the speaker might need to hear, and you hear a lot of things and you say a lot of or see a lot of things that an experienced Toastmaster would see and would hear, and you bring your knowledge that I know that you acquired outside of Toastmasters about being on camera, and you're helping her elevate her camera presence, and all of us are elevated in that way. So I appreciate that. So at this time, I'm actually going to ask the both of you to, if you wouldn't mind, to do that round robin for the speaker, since I guess that's what we should have done to begin with. But if Tricia, if you could do a little round robin for Fransisco so he can get some feedback, and then we'll hand it back over to me. We can hand it over to Andrea to do that. So Tricia, back to you.
Thank you, Dawn. All right, I will just use our Brady Bunch boxes to go around and ask each member and participant to give a word or two for Fransisco's speech. I believe we're doing 1 minute. Yes, 1 minute.
I think 1 minute, if we could do about, I think we have 2 minutes total.
Okay.
That would be good. And then just make everybody just be short.
Okay. Well, the first person I will call on is Doug, and I can time you, Doug, if you'd like. If you would like to share anything that you observed for Fransisco's speech.
Well, I certainly enjoyed the speech. I thought it was interesting for Fransisco, that you presented some of your motivation for joining this club, as well as forming other clubs. So that was interesting, and I think that you did use the space in the video well for presenting the information that you had, or for the gesture you did. The use of the tablet, I thought was good. And you're blocking yourself sometimes when you did hold up the tablet, so do watch out for that. Yeah. Back to you, Tricia.
Thank you. Yes. That was 40 seconds, FYI. Alex, would you like to share anything from what your view of Fransisco's speech?
I think I really like the Fransisco speech when I found he has much enthusiasm about the Toastmaster. I think this is great, because if you want to be, if you want to grow as a leader, if you want to move forward, I think it's important to have enthusiasm, because sometimes we have difficulty something. So I see the spirit of his speech. I wish I can be as enthusiastic, as passionate as him, because I think this is really important for a Toastmaster. If you have this kind of thing, if you meet any difficulties or something, and it can help you grow, and you can learn a lot from every lesson. So this is what I love about from his speech.
Thank you, Alex. Lori, would you like to share any insight into Fransisco's speech? We can't hear you.
I think we're out of time.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's over 2 minutes. We asked for 2 for this round robin. So.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the overall time, and and can somebody check maybe the timer, Doug, to check on our agenda to see when the evaluation portion is over, because I think we'll have time for more.
According to the agenda, the evaluation portion has a couple more minutes left, so we have a good 2 minutes for.
Well, if we would like to switch over to Lori's speech, maybe.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, thank you. So, Andrea, if you could do your round robin for Lori. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm excited about hearing what you have to say about Lori's speech. And I'm going to open this up to anybody who would like to jump in. Hopefully I'll see you. If not, start talking, because you'll be in the screen. So if there's anybody who'd like to say anything, Fransisco, you're first.
Thank you. Definitely agree with what Andrea shared in her evaluation. if anything, yes, for improvement. As it was called out to me, things like camera angles, the position of our recording, microphones, all these things come into play. And Lori, you are very close to ideal lighting, but I would say you may want to look at the video and see what else you could do to perhaps bring a little bit of more of what they call a key light so that we can see you. Of course, you see me shifting here. I'm trying to do that with the sun, but you're indoors. You may have more control over that. And the other thing, much like it was, Tricia told me, a higher camera angle tends to be a bit more flattering, as well as, I would say, welcoming in terms of you looking up to people instead of looking down. That's the only thing I have to say. Again, mostly technical. Thank you. Back to you.
Is there anybody else who would like to jump in here?
I would like to say something, Andrea.
Okay.
Thank you. First of all, Lori, this is exactly one of the reasons why I think that I started this online advanced club. So speakers like you can present tough topics. And it feels to me like you have done this a million times, but I don't know if that's the case or not. I mean, you may have shared stories like this so often that you are detached emotionally from it. Or, you know, I can feel the emotion of what you're sharing. But this is the kind of thing that I was hoping that we would be able to do as an advanced club. So I appreciate the fact that you brought all of yourself, all of who you are and what you do to us today. So thank you. Thanks, Doug.
And that will conclude my portion of the round robin. So back to you.
Awesome. Okay. And at this point, yay, thank you, everyone. Overall, we had a great meeting. I'm going to call for reports here in just a second. I have to apologize for our speakers. I forgot to record the meeting. So my big ding on I started recording halfway through during the topics, I think. So as a club, I'm going to ask for additional support. Please help me or feel free to ask me at the beginning, are we recording? Pamela has been doing that, but since she's in Hawaii, she's not here to help out. So anytime you see the meeting start and I'm not recording, anytime in that first slides, let me know. That was my biggest mistake that I saw during the meeting today. I guess I would really like to, Tricia, you have something to say?
Yeah, I was just saying, we know as a club, we all need a position, let's say. If you have someone that's your sergeant of arms that knows that they can be your backup, so you can make them a co-host and make sure that's their singular job.
To make sure.
To always make sure that it's recording. Even if you record it as well, that's fine. But that is their singular job.
Yes.
Is to make sure that so that's maybe one less thing that you have to have control over.
Yes.
It makes it easier on you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think we're going to do, well, I know it's been suggested that we have to do some voting and bringing some people in to help, because I can't do it on my own, even though I think I can. It's really not possible. That's why Toastmasters has roles, so we can do that. So look forward to some emails from me coming in this week. I started to send a few of them. And Francisco, you have something you want to share?
I just wanted to say, coincidentally, I forgot to turn this guy on. I was going to share a video of how it looks in the car, but I also forgot. So you're in good company.
Okay, awesome. And at this time, I'm going to ask for our reports. And I'm going to look at I think I'm going to look at the agenda. Well, first of all, the timer report. Doug, if you can share your timers report.
Sure. For our speeches, Francisco, both speeches were, I was told, 5 to 7 minutes. Francisco spoke for 6 minutes and 9 seconds. And I started the timer once we had the audio resolved and you could properly start your speech so we could hear it. Technical difficulties happen, so that part's okay. Lori, for her speech, was 7 minutes, 55 seconds. So I think particularly since this is one you need to do over as part of the Pathways project, watch your time for the repeat. For our table topics, Tammie was our first speaker. She spoke for 1 minute and 24. Alex, our second speaker, spoke for 1 minute 25. And Dawn spoke for 1 minute and 41 seconds, so all nicely within the 2 minute time. Our evaluations, the direct evaluations were 2 minutes and 30 seconds for Tricia and 2 minutes and 46 seconds for Andrea. And then in the round robin portion, the first round robin for Fransisco's speech was 2 minutes, 17 seconds, and the second one was 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So a bit over our 2 minute time in both cases. And Dawn, you asked me to time your evaluation of the evaluators. You gave 38 seconds for evaluating Tricia and 49 seconds for evaluating Andrea, which is nicely within the 1 minute you asked for on each of them. That's my report. Back to you.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you. I appreciate that. And at this time, I would like to ask for our grammarian's report. And just unmute yourself.
Yeah. For Fransisco, he has one R. Hey. And for Lori, she has one R as well. And for the table topic speaker, Tammie has one R. The word okay. For me, I'm not sure because I'm not counting when I speak. Although for Dawn, she has two R. Twice. Okay, for individual evaluation, just I forgot how to say her name. Tricia, she has three R for repeat words, consider and at least, so 3 R's. And for Andrea, she has 3 R's as well. Repeat word, then, and to, something like that. Yes. And back to you.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. And I feel like I'm missing somebody on our roles. We've got the timer. We have everybody, right? We've got everyone. So thank you so much for a great meeting. We did start on time. Did we? Yes, I like that. Looking in the notes, it just popped up there. So the grammarian use. Tricia, did you want to share that? Go ahead and share.
Yes, when I was listening to Fransisco, because she had said prior to the meeting that you were looking for phrases as we spoke that's popped out to us. So those are just the phrases that Fransisco used that really, I thought, were really interesting uses of grammar. That's a skill of a grammarian's job.
Well, I appreciate the extra help. So thank you, Tricia. Oops. And with our guests, I'd like to hear from, if it's okay with everybody, to hear from Tammie. I know you were here last week, but I would love to hear what your thoughts are of this meeting, your second meeting.
Well, I was really curious to see how people give a speech online. You know, when we stand at the podium or lectern and you do the body movements and you're able to kind of move around, I just wasn't sure how that was going to look by sitting in a chair, most likely in front of a camera speaking. So I appreciated seeing that, or in a car. That was interesting. So that grammarian, I just said so twice. But I appreciated seeing how this works and how to do the online evaluations and share the forms ahead of time, so you know if you're an evaluator, you have the material ahead of time. So that was a good learning lesson.
Well, great. And thanks for your feedback. And as each speaker is able to present differently, so we do have, I think Tricia is one of our members who likes to stand up when she speaks. So you might see her standing up and you can see a full body view of her. So it is up to the speaker to see it, to make the maximum use of the camera space for them, and how does it work for them individually and for you. So hopefully you'll be able to experience that in the future. And Tina, I would love to see if you can unmute yourself. And I would love to, are you still here? Let me find you. I'm going to unmute you. And I would love to hear your feedback on our meeting, if you could. I can't hear you, so maybe you're unmuted or you're muted on your end. Maybe she's asleep. It is midnight there. So.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Yay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, actually, my name is Cynthia. It's Cynthia. And sorry for the technical issue because I don't have the screen, so I can't show up my face. So next time I will change the computer so I can show my face.
Okay.
Sorry about that. And it's very exciting to see this online meeting because it's my first time to enjoy this kind of meeting in this brand new format. And I do learn a lot from both of the two speakers' prepared speech as well as the table topics. And I think maybe next time I can try to join the table topics and I can interact with you guys more. So thank you so much. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. And I misspelled your name again. We'll get it right for you next time. Thank you, Cynthia. Oh, wonderful. So thank you so much. And at this time, I'm going to ask if anyone else has any thoughts on the meeting before you can unmute yourself, like we can all unmute yourself. I'm going to, Fransisco, go ahead.
The membership email you sent, is there going to be a business meeting or something along those lines to help you complete the chartering process? Thank you.
Oh, good. Yes, I think we're going to have a special meeting after, maybe if it works for everybody to stay after the meeting, I think that would be great. If not, then we'll have to find another day because there's a lot of things I would like to bring up and address within the leadership group. I have reached out to, I think, probably just a couple people about roles. And Sandy, I will just put this out here. I reached out to her because I think she would be a great addition, like for a VP of PR. So I'm hoping that we can do that. And what was I going to say? If you want to fill a role within this club, let me know. Okay, thank you, Doug. And if there's anything, Doug, that you think you could help with, and I would appreciate it as far as like a role, an officer's role. Please let me know.
I'll think about that, yeah.
And go ahead and you can go ahead and send me privately a text message and let me know right now if you're interested in an officer's role, and we'll get you on that because I do need the help. And this time I'm going to share the agenda. And like I said, you can, maybe not. I don't have it open yet. So hold on.
For next time, I just wanted to mention one other thing about our meeting today.
Sure.
For the group evaluation, for it to go expedient, it would help for the evaluator just to say, now I'm going to open it up for group feedback. That way it's in 5 seconds, and then people are learning to show their hand or something like that to be called on. And every single person doesn't have to participate because there isn't enough time, but someone who has something they want to share can speak, and that would help it be very expedient.
I agree with Lori on that. It is much more effective, I think, to have people volunteer than be called upon if they don't have that much to say.
I think that's a great point. So, and I think that we'll have to just continue to grow. I know that Rick, when he did the general evaluator role, he did an excellent job of making sure that the evaluators were prepared to do that. And I didn't do that today. That was another, it's a moment of truth, I guess. And hopefully we can get those people who are excellent at that role, like Rick, to volunteer a couple more times, just so we can get that process in place and it runs smoothly a couple more times. I think, Andrea, you're also somebody I would consider to be somebody who could do that very well. So anyone who wants to do that can volunteer for the role. Is that you, Sandy? Are you ready? You want to do this? All right, I'm going to pass it over to you so you can take care of this then. But you're muted, so let me unmute you. I'll get that. Oh, maybe not.
I got it.
Yay.
Okay. I was actually just going to let you take control of the screen, but I can do it too. So for the next meeting, that's what we're discussing, right, Dawn? Okay. For the next meeting, we still need all the roles filled. So who would be interested in being Toastmaster?
I would like to speak if I'm not already on this calendar.
Okay.
Dawn, I'm still trying to get that CC completed, if it would be okay.
You can volunteer if you have got a speech ready. So I think that was Francisco volunteering to be speaker number 2.
Dawn,
Thank you.
Recording this part of the meeting or not?
I am. So in case it doesn't get saved, but you know what, let me stop it. And I'm going to